Greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to episode 7? I keep forgetting, of Donkey Kong Country 3 in the Game Boy Advance. I'm Paradigm Gamer, of course. In the last episode, we returned back to Krematoa first of all and played another stage. We played another funky minigame, and I think we talked to Bazaar again. In this episode, we're gonna be continuing on with K3. Which we started in the previous episode. Okay, so the way that you do this one, this is probably one of the more clever coin puzzles in the game, is you hit it off the wall like that, and then just walk it over to the coin and kill him. So, yeah. I do have to say, just because, you know, the experience of practicing up for 2 playthroughs of this game this year, one on Game Mavericks for the SNES version, and one on the GBA for this version, obviously, for this channel. Bonus rooms have gotten a lot easier for me. I remember them being super obnoxious, and I'm not sure what's to blame for that, like the input lag on the Virtual Console and all that stuff, and the Game Boy player for the GBA version, or I'm sure part of it's just, at this point, I've probably played these bonus rooms as often as I played the DKC2 ones. So maybe it's just, I know what to expect now, so it's just easier for me, or I don't know. But I do feel like maybe, especially at this point in the playthrough, that maybe I was a bit harsh in my review. Like I said, DKC3 is a game that, when I did the review, I wasn't really sure what I thought of it. By the way, quick little version difference. Saw that barrel we just picked up there? For some reason, in the SNES version of the game, that is not a barrel, but a crate from DKC2. Like, it's true. Go play the level again, go pop in your card again, and you will find that, for some reason, one of those crate objects from DKC2 was there instead. So, I don't know, kind of a strange thing that it was in the game. I'm not sure why they removed it. Maybe they didn't have room on the cart for the crate objects, so they just took it out for that reason, but regardless. K3 is probably my favorite world in this chunk of the game. Because Razor Ridge has a lot of really terrible levels in it, and there might be a new world for the 3rd tier in this version of the game. There might be a new world. And it's pretty mixed like the original game was. My opinion on the new world that may or may not be in this game has not changed at all since I previously did the review. I think it's not that great. Where the hell am I and how do I move forward? Okay, over this way. Now we just gotta wait for this barrel to move over. Kind of an interesting object or idea for this game. One of the reasons I hate Perry, and I called him a son of a bitch earlier in the playthrough, it's because, as you might remember from Stampede Sprint, sometimes bonus barrels are tied to him. Only in a couple of stages, but if you're playing this for the first time, you're not gonna know what those stages are, or even that, you know, bonus rooms could be tied to Mr. Perry here. So, it basically means whenever you get him and you lose him, and I went right through that platform, it basically means whenever you get Perry, it's just like, oh shit. Like, if he gets killed, I don't think I've ever seen that happen before, but I digress. Right, which way do I go? Up over here. I think I've already finished. No, I have to play this part again. Which can be kind of tricky to time your jumps. Like, I know what's here because I've played the game before, but the camera is not super helpful there. I will say, out of all the three parts we've played, for this little marathon on the Let's Play channel here, I do think that the camera is by far the worst in the DKC3 port. Like, it's kind of hard to tell when the game is upscaled like this, like I have it. But when you're playing it on the original screen, when you go right, there's more room to your side than when you go to the left. Like, you can see Kitty's basically in the center of the screen when you're moving left, but when you're moving right, there's more room to see. And I don't know why they did that. would it really have been that hard to have mirrored it? Because, like, I find that for the most part when you're playing DKC 1 and 2, the levels almost always just go from left to right. And in that case, a camera system like this would be just fine. But in this particular game, the level design tends to go... when you're playing this particular game, there tends to be a lot more... Like these waterfall levels especially. Levels like these. The levels tend to go backwards from left to right all the time as they shimmy around something. And in that case, like the mill levels in this game, like the mill, you know, the mill levels, you tend to go from left to right as you climb up the stage. There's more vertical level design in DKC 3, I find. And because of that, if you're playing on the original screen, it can be kind of hard to see where you're going sometimes. And there's a level later on in the game in Razor Ridge where the camera is really annoying and completely ruins the level compared to the original version. We'll get to that when we get to that. I hope I mentioned it in the review because I remember having issues with it there as well. Like I said, it's easier to play this game in an emulator. Like, the game looks better on an original screen because that's what the colors were made for and stuff, but the games are harder when you play it on the original hardware, I found, just from doing these playthroughs for the channel. So here we have another green banana mission. Let's jump up and grab them. And you can I recommend just making a platform in the middle because generally you can reach anything from there. And you know, as always with these green banana ones, you have plenty of time. I don't know. I feel like the game is... My opinion of this game has improved, but I can't tell if that's because I was wrong about it to begin with, or I'm just used to it. That's the problem. Like, even just playing it again after having done the test playthrough, it's like amazing. And like, part of it's because, like I said, the game is harder to play on a smaller screen. Like when you have this full screen and you can make out individual pixels and distance like that, it makes the game easier. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, which I actually brought up in my DKC 1 playthrough, is that Cloak is back. You might remember Cloak from DKC 2, and when you play on the GBA version of the game, whenever you'd kill Cloak, he'd do that laugh. And I guess, so in the original version of this game, there was no laugh. It would just make like a generic kind of charging sound when the arrows were running through the reticle, and then a fireball would get shot at you. And technically, within the realm of the game's code, the reticle there is actually considered an animal buddy, kind of like how that one Nibla was in Fish Food Frenzy. But obviously we're playing a Squitter, who is always a joy to play as. You can consider this level a counterpart to Web Woods from the second game, where we are playing as Squitter the whole way through, and the whole time the sniper is chasing after us. And as I was getting at, the sniper hits you, obviously you're gonna take damage. So you gotta avoid the sniper and make your way through the stage. There are blast shields in the stage, and this bonus room is one of the best ones in the game in my opinion, because you actually get to control the reticle and shoot at enemies, which is kind of fun. I wish there were more bonus rooms like this in this game, because that would have been kind of cool. I mean, not specifically this idea, just more variety in that kind of way. And here you've got to time your shots so that they hit the buzzes. And I think they increased the timer for this version of the game as well, because I remember it being pretty tight in my SNES run. But maybe it's another one of those things that I'm not sure about, so you get to look it up and figure it out for yourself. And then once you kill them all, the bonus token shows up and you shoot it to collect it. And then that's it. So yeah, they did add that laugh. And it's just, I'm sure that there's some people who are used to the SNES version who played this and it's just like, why'd they add that super cheesy laugh to the stage? Whereas for me, because I played this version first, when I was playing the SNES version, I'm like, oh, they didn't have the laugh? Like, I'm just used to it being there, because it's just, I don't know, it's just so cheesy that I kind of love it, if that makes any sense. And it's not like it's annoying to listen to, like it's, whoever was doing that laugh was having a lot of fun, so I can't help but have fun with them. Okay, so be careful with this barrel, because if you lose it, you have to play the entire stage again to get another one, so don't miss your shot there. Trust me, folks. Alright, so this is something they made easier between versions. In the original version of the game, you had to kind of go out on a limb and press up from the stage to find this camp. Right here. My word, how on earth did you find me up here? Well, never mind about that. My name's Blizzard. I've been up here for weeks getting ready for my attempt to conquer K3. It looks like I'm gonna miss my best friend Blue's birthday. Say, could you do me a favor, Kongs? No problem. That's great! Could you take this present to him for me, please? I'd be ever so grateful. Okay, and up over here if you go to the left. Like, ugh. This is the Banana Bird Cave for the world. Alright, looks like we've reached that point in the game. I'm gonna have to start writing them down. Let me grab my pen. Thankfully, I've got a pad of Post-its right here, just for this occasion. Alright, game, hit me with your best shot. Alright. It's just like, who wants to waste their time with that? It's just, it's so much shit to memorize. It's like, for the first chunk of the game, it's fine. But once you reach this point with the bonus barrels, it just become annoying to play, and I'd much rather just, you know, fucking write it down and get it done with. So, once again, they have changed the color. I guess I should offer my thoughts on the graphics in this version. Like, I already touched on the fact that the color accuracy is the best here of the three games. The colors in this game most closely match, or more closely match the original game than any other. But still, I find that I do think that it, like, you know, obviously the sprites are still shrunken down, so you have less detail, so I would say that the original version looks slightly better still. But I'm not a fan, like, I'm just so used to how, because, you know, all the world maps in these games got re-rendered for the re-release. And I'm just so used to looking at them that way. I'm just so used to them looking that way that the original world maps that have all the extra dithering and crap just look bad to me. I don't like how the original world maps look because of that. Especially because they're all confined to one screen. Whereas the world maps in these games are, you know, bigger, so they have more detail and they look more, I don't know, I don't think realistic is the right word, but they look more like real worlds and stuff, I guess. And this level's pretty straightforward and fun, I'd say. The gimmick is obviously we have these lemguins, and these lemguins are doing belly flops. I think there are Crash Bandicoot levels which literally have the same thing in them. You know, penguins doing belly flops. Maybe that's Wrath of Cortex specifically I'm thinking of, but I could have sworn Crash 2 has penguin enemies at least. I'm not sure if they brought back this particular idea or not. I digress. And I don't know, this level's pretty easy. Not much to say about it, honestly. Alright, moving on to Swanky's Dash. There are nanas and tokens galore for the ones who get the best score. Will you give it a try? Back again, are you? You don't even have any help from me. Off you go. I have not been reading Swanky's dialogue for the past few times, so thought I'd treat you fellas. By the way, this low resolution 3D, something else. Something else. That I can tell you. Alright, let's spin around here. It's like, by this point we've seen most of these, and like I was getting at earlier, they don't really progress at all. This is the same thing we were doing in the original stage, and the ball spikes, like even by the time you get to the last stage, they barely are there. I don't know, maybe I could try actually using the break move and show that off for you guys. You press down and then Dixie skips to a stop, and you can jump, but there's no point in the stages where you ever actually use these abilities. Very good, you did better than I expected. You got 97 out of 100 stars. That's one of the best performances I've seen in a long, long time. And that's it. That's all there is to it, fellas. Alright, so over here we have the boss, which is kind of an interesting thing in DKC3 on GBA. In the original version of the game, like I said, there was Swanky Sideshow. And it was basically a shooting gallery minigame. Shit. It was basically a shooting gallery minigame where you'd basically play like this and shoot at targets, like you'd throw balls at targets. And Bleek here, this boss, the snowman boss, was unique in DKC3 as being the only boss you'd fight in the target throw mode, basically. But obviously, Swanky Sideshow was removed for this version of the game. So this is it's kind of interesting that they still bothered to bring this gameplay back, even though Swanky Sideshow, the inspiration for it, is completely gone. But, you know, Bleek is a pretty easy boss, if you ask me. He has a big fuck me light right in his chest. That's obviously his weak point. You throw the snowball at it and he takes damage. After you hit him enough, he'll start shooting these giant snowballs out of the cannon on his head, which is kind of neat. I just thought that was like a visually interesting attack. And these can be kind of hard to dodge, and you really need to get on the ball for that last hit there. And by the way, for Bleek, they reused some sound effects from King K. Rool there. Very good, kitty. You sure gave him a frosty reception. You're doing really well, so don't stop now. Off you go. So, for most of the game up to this point, what the goal of beating the worlds was to get items that Funky could use to make us new boats so that we could get farther in the game. For some reason, that concept is completely abandoned for the third tier. So as you can see right here, there's a little kind of a horseshoe or arch-shaped divot right here in the rock, so you can see it pretty clearly. And if you go up over here, you can see that there is a world back there that we can't reach. That is the final world in the game besides Krematoa. And for some reason, when you beat the last of the worlds in the third tier, the pathway in there just opens for some reason. Like, it's never explained how that works. And how many coins do I have? Yeah, not nearly enough. But I do have enough to go back to Krematoa, I guess. But before we do that, let's go chat up with Bachelor Bear, because we have some time before the part ends. Swim on over this way. Don't really have much to say about this. It's pretty straightforward. Fantastic. You have both the rose and the chocolates. That's just what I need to take out on my date. Say, kitty, would you swap me then for that stupid bird? You would? That's great. Here's the bird. Please take care of him. Clear off then. I need to take a bath and prepare myself for my hot date. So one thing I barely mentioned, as we go on to do more side quest stuff here real quick, is that the Brothers Bears, the sprites for the Brothers Bears, completely changed between versions. And part of me likes the doofier looking designs from the original a little bit more, but part of me feels like the outfits for these new characters looks a lot more distinct, and especially the backgrounds for these characters are a lot more distinct. Up over here we have another banana bird cave we can do real quick. shit. Thought I could do that one without a pen. It's like amazing just how pen and paper completely cheeses these minigames. But there's another side quest we can do real quick. As you might have noticed, especially if you played both versions, the backgrounds for the Brothers Bears encounters are a lot more distinct than they used to be. But I guess speaking of stuff that was changed, Blue here used to have his own theme song. A present? For me? Oh, thank you, kitty. You've really made my day. Let's have a look inside. Oh, it's a bowling ball. Well, it's far too heavy for me. I know, why don't you have it, kitty? Best of luck in your quest, kitty. Wait, what is that? It looks like it says happy birthday in the background because of the scaling crunch or whatever. Actually, I wonder if that's still in the game. In the original version, there used to be a shortcut next to Squirt Showdown that you could take that would take you back to Blue's house. I wonder if it's still in the game, because they took out all the other shortcuts. Well, I'll be. It's still in here. Son of a bitch. You're not allowed to go back, though, so I don't know why Dixie and Kitty just didn't go that way to begin with, but I digress. Alright, so we're nearing the end of this item trading sequence real quick. Ugh, sorry. Alright, so we met Brigadier Bazooka Bear before. What have you got there, Kitty? A heavy ball? Well, you never know, it might just work. Shall we load up Big Bessie and see if she'll fire? Okay, let's give it a go. Ready? Aim. And in this version of the game, they changed Brigadier Bazooka Bear's house so that it actually has a cannon on it. In the original version of the game, a cannon from DKC 2, not the enemy, but you know, like an actual cannon, would basically slide out from behind a normal-looking house and just shoot you that way. So I thought that was kind of a fun change. Well, turns out I didn't need pen and paper, and I fucked up right away because I accidentally pressed the button. Some reason in this version of the game, if you fail, they make you go talk to Brigadier again. What a cracking noise! It was good to hear her again. I say, would you like to have another try, Kitty, I say? Okay, let's give it a go. Ready? Aim. Fire! There we go. And just like that, we've gotten the banana bird for this world. So just in case you didn't notice, each world has a banana bird in it. So if you get to the end of the game and you don't have enough banana birds, go back to old worlds and see if you can find the banana bird cave there. In this version, it will be marked with the flag if you've done it, so I don't know, maybe it was like that in the original too. Alright, I think we're gonna stop here for now, folks. Join me in part 8? I think it's part 8. Join me next time, and we'll play the next level in Krematoa, and then move on to probably Razor Ridge. Until then, I'm Exio, and I hope you enjoyed the episode.